We're transitioning into a new year, and in the beginning of 2024, I had 4 bold market predictions, and we're going to address each of them in this video. Let's go ahead and find out if any of my predictions were accurate, given that we are in one of the most uncertain real estate markets the Greater Toronto Area has seen in history. And it's funny because I recently had a client call me and he said, Michael, I bought 2 properties based on your market predictions. Your market predictions were wrong, and I ended up losing money. And then fortunately, the client told me he was just joking around, because I like to think that my market predictions are pretty accurate. So we're going to go over each of them. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Of course, if you are considering buying or selling, make sure to call me. And the very first prediction I had made was that the interest rates would decrease 3 times during 2024. And I actually pointed out the dates I thought the rate cuts would take place, being April, July, and October. It turns out that we didn't just experience 3 rate decreases, we actually saw 5 rate decreases take place. As shown in this chart here, we can see that we experienced 3 rate cuts, being 25 basis points from June to September, followed by larger rate cuts, 50 basis points taking place October and December. So of course, this is great news for both buyers and for sellers. For buyers, of course, they have more purchasing power. There's going to be more buyers back into the market. And it's good for sellers because right now there's still an oversupply of listings. We're seeing about 20,000 listings up for sale in the Greater Toronto Area. And this is abnormal given that the number of listings is usually somewhere around like 6,000 to 9,000. So we're going to see lower interest rates means more buyers back in the market, which means more listings will actually be sold, which ultimately will lead to a lower inventory. And the lower the inventory gets, the more likely it is that sellers are going to be able to sell their home quickly for the most amount of money. Whereas for sellers in 2024, it was as if they had to list their property, wait 30 days, 60 days, 90 plus, and eventually they would find the right buyer. So it looks like with these rate cuts coming down, more buyers coming back into the marketplace and listings being sold faster. And the second prediction I had made was that the average price would increase by 3% in 2024. And I'm proud and happy to say that I think this is my most accurate prediction, given that the average price did increase, but it didn't go up to about 3%. It's more about 2%. As per this information here, looking at the stats in November, it was reported that the average price had increased for all property style by 2.2% over the past 12 months. I also predicted that detached homes would see the most price growth. That happened too. With condo apartments, I predicted that the average price would be stable. More so, it looks like the average condo has actually decreased in value, and that's because of the fact that we're still dealing with a lot of oversupply. We're also seeing less investors in the market. Surprisingly, the investors are now buying multifamily homes like triplexes or duplexes, but they seem to be getting away from the condo apartments. The third prediction I made was that the pre-construction prices would be stable, and I feel like this is somewhat accurate, but it doesn't tell the whole story, because something we have seen is actually a decrease of the number of new projects coming to the market. There's also a lot of inventory that's sitting, so it seems that builders right now are just being patient. They're not bringing their product to the market, and that's because they understand that there's no buyers for the product. So it seems that builders are just being patient, just like a lot of the sellers out there on the resale side. They're waiting for the market to pick up. With the builders, they've decided, okay, we're not going to come down on price because then we're not going to be cash flow positive. Rather, why don't we be patient, wait for the market to pick up, which most likely it will, and then they'll release their product to the market. And that being said, because of the pessimism around pre-construction and new construction and the development fees and such, builders are getting away from constructing new homes, and it seems that it may be that way for a couple of years until there's more overall optimism about the new construction market. And so it looks like of the 3 predictions that we had went over, I was maybe right on 2 of them. Maybe you can give me 2.5 points out of 3, but this next prediction I would say I pretty much got wrong, and that's because I predicted that the average rental price would be stable through 2024. I even predicted that for property outside of the Toronto core, they would increase in value by 2 to 3%, but it seems like it went the other way. Looking at this chart here, we can see different areas across Ontario. They're pretty much all down in value, from Toronto, Mississauga, Burlington. They haven't seen too much of a change. We can see Barrie, Ottawa, Kitchener, they're all down. And this change really took place, you can say, the second half of the year. The first half of the year, it seems that the rental prices were stable. Now there's an oversupply of listings. There's also headlines around the rental market being the worst it's been in over 15 months. And so the major question is, what could be the cause of this? Is it that people are perhaps leaving Ontario? Is it that they're deciding to actually buy a property? But if they're buying a property, then why aren't we seeing an increase in the number of total transactions taking place in the Greater Toronto Area? Perhaps it could be because of the fact that a lot of the newer construction properties have closed over the past couple of years. The landlords are rather opting to lease out their property, and we're seeing that actually pretty common on listings these days, is that they're not only for sale, but they're up for lease at the same time. It's like for the new construction homes, homeowners have decided that they don't want the property anymore, and they either sell the unit if they can get their price, or if they don't get their price, then they have it up for lease in case they get the right tenant. And then the plan might be to sell the property 1 year afterwards once that lease contract expires. If you want to see my predictions for 2025, make sure to comment in the comments section below. Do subscribe to see more, and if you are considering buying or selling, make sure to call me. And if you're a hungry real estate agent looking to increase your business, you got to work with the best. You have to to reach out to me to learn more about what EXP and our network can offer you. Keep enjoying the holidays, and I look forward to seeing you all next time.